Hello there, and welcome back to the Average Pundits podcast, where we talk about all things Premier League. And we're back after a very interesting week of Premier League action. It's been quite a hefty week of Premier League action, actually. As always, to the opposite me here in the studio, we have my good friend Joseph Brody.
Hi mate, how you doing?
I think you're in quite the good mood after this week.
Mate, I'm actually kind of buzzing. It's been a long, drawn out season so far. So I'm taking the dubs where I can, and it's been a really good week for Premier League football all around. I think
it's been weird with like all the Amazon Prime stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
all the football on there. They put loads of games. It's been a hectic week.
I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about Amazon Prime getting Premier League, but you know what? I watched the games on Amazon Prime, and it was convenient. It was really nice to have. I watched one game on my phone, watched one on my computer, one on the PlayStation. It was really handy.
It was a busy week, to be fair. Like both of us, of keeping up to date with football. It's quite easy to do now that we've got that easy access as well. But
yeah, 100%.
So. Speaking of the roundup, so we obviously went through these games, starting with Tuesday. So this is going to be the results speed round.
Yeah, we're going to have to blitz through these ones because there are a lot of games.
A lot of games. There is like 5 days worth of games to go through. So we're going to blitz through these and give a little bit of coverage, bang it out. So first game, Man City versus Burnley 4-1.
Pretty comfortable win, really, wasn't it, for Man City?
Jesus, coming in scoring 2 goals, comfortable win, not too bad.
Crystal Palace, Bournemouth.
They comfortable win for Palace again. Not that comfortable. They were always going to win at Selhurst Park. Saka getting sent off in the 19th minute.
So I don't know if anyone saw his reaction to that getting sent off. Like there's a screenshot of it. It is hilarious.
Saka's facials are just that's a soundbite.
There we go.
Oh, brilliant. Moving on. Liverpool versus Everton 5-2 goal thriller.
Yeah, that was an interesting result. I'd tell you that was not my personal game of the weekend, but I'm sure it was for a lot of people. But very comfortable win for Liverpool at normal.
Divock the Rock.
It's such a good record against Liverpool, he has, isn't it?
Against Everton.
That
backwards cap.
Against Everton. But honestly, he is continuing his form in the Merseyside derby.
Wolverhampton Wanderers versus West Ham United. Leander Dundonker and Patrick Catrone finally getting on the goal sheet. Keeping a clean sheet against West Ham.
Patrick Catrone, I think he is going to come good for Wolves. I mean, he was very highly touted at Milan, so I mean, a great acquisition.
Absolutely. Next game, Southampton versus Norwich, 2-1 to Southampton. Finally picking up some steam. Danny Ings scoring once again, as we all predicted.
I was going to say, he genuinely is, keeping up that form. I mean, it is really good to see.
He gets goals, and that's probably why we signed him back when we were struggling still.
He's going to be saved. He's going to be saved.
Absolutely. You can't get Southampton relegated and not pick up Danny Ings. Leicester continue their winning form. Jamie Vardy scored a penalty, and Maddison in the 95th minute to take down Watford 2-0.
Nice and comfortable again from Leicester.
As always, you're not really going to expect anything less against Watford, especially. Next up, we're going to have Chelsea versus Aston Villa.
This was more of a good game to watch, actually. I quite enjoyed this game.
Two Egyptians linking up.
Great goal from Mason Mount.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 Egyptians linking up for Trezeguet's goal as well. And Tammy Abraham also continuing scoring form. Abraham and Mount, that tandem is it's completely working for Lampard, and I don't see him switching it up anytime soon.
No, nor do I.
Maybe after the next game that we talk about Chelsea. However, we move on to Thursday's games. Arsenal versus Brighton. This is quite a big result for Brighton to hit Arsenal 2-1.
Yeah, I caught this game, and Arsenal again were just poor.
Yep,
absolutely poor.
Mapai scoring in the 80th minute. A nice header. Matty Ryan had a brilliant game. Aussie keeper. He's doing Australia proud right now.
He is indeed.
What a keeper he is. The next game we have, the final game on Thursday, Newcastle beating Sheffield United up the tune.
That was a surprise result for me. I didn't think that was going to happen. Yeah,
St. Maximin scoring a goal. It's a surprise. His first goal.
Hopefully for Newcastle he keeps up that form and kind of comes good.
And Jonjo Shelvey also carrying on his scoring, being the leader that Newcastle need right now.
Yeah.
Kind of a boringish game that I caught a little bit of, and then I skipped it. Watford versus Crystal Palace. A lot of yellow cards, but no real goals to talk about. Even possession. Surprising, seeing as Palace are continuing a good run of form, but Watford were able to keep him off.
What Watford Palace, mate? That's the week after.
What?
So you've had a bit of a skip, mate. We still got games to talk about, haven't we? Or we save.
We save.
No, but Watford Palace, yeah, that was pretty dull game, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Nothing really too much to talk about there. But I mean, fair play to Watford for holding out against Palace. Palace have been pretty good this season, but again, Watford, I think I see nothing other than them going down.
Yeah. Moving on to a big result for Tottenham, 5-0.
Did you see Son's goal?
Oh, it was brilliant.
It was brilliant.
It was fantastic. He ran past at least 40 players.
After the result Tottenham had the week before, which we are going to move on to talk to in a minute, they needed a big win, and they responded to it very well. A very, very comfortable win for Jose Mourinho, and finally a clean sheet for Tottenham.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which was, again, I think it was testament to Burnley were diabolical, but I mean, fair play. They finally did get that clean sheet.
Heung-min Son ran around as many players that he can fit into the Etihad.
Genuinely, he was phenomenal.
Speaking of finally getting a clean sheet, get in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Finally, I can't recall the last time we had a clean sheet.
It's been a while for you. It has been a while. It's been like, was it? We mentioned it before.
It was the 1-0 win against Sheffield United.
That is crazy.
That is the last time we kept a clean sheet, and it's finally happened again. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita, two unusual very unorthodox scorers, but can come in when needed, and obviously Mohamed Salah coming in and scoring as he always does.
What did you make of Everton's win against Chelsea?
Surprising.
I thought it was incredible. I thought what a performance from Everton.
Richarlison carrying on his scoring form. He's a brilliant player.
Yeah.
I think he's finally coming into that role. Them without a manager currently, I guess, or have they got a caretaker?
Duncan Edwards stepped up.
Duncan Edwards, yeah,
and he was getting cheers all around Goodison Park after that. I mean,
he loves
such a revered figure at the club. I mean, fair play.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin finally coming into his own. It just shows like some of these clubs do need to let go of the manager in order to have a new lease of life in some of these players.
Yeah.
Brighton and Wolves 2-2 again. It's probably something that we say on every podcast. Wolves are a strange club. They just beat West Ham 2-0.
I just realised I said Duncan Edwards, didn't I?
You did.
Duncan Ferguson.
Who's Duncan Edwards?
Duncan Edwards is a United player, mate.
Of course. He's a United player.
No, I think I got United on the brain, mate. I said it off the top of my head. I was just thinking I knew I said that wrong.
You're too buzzed about Manchester United this week.
I'm too gassed, mate. Anyway, where were we?
Sheffield United, Norwich.
Again, like a good win for Sheffield. Sheffield's still getting these results in. I think Norwich, the magic of Norwich at the start of the season is well and truly done now.
So I do see him as relegation candidates right now.
Yeah.
I believe they are in the relegation zone or tilting towards that way. So yeah, it's not good. Newcastle also continuing their scoring. John Joe Shelby scoring as well as Federico Fernandez. Continuing that defenders score for Newcastle for some reason.
Yeah, just seems to get the goals.
Of course, Danny Ings always gets on the score sheet. You can't stop him from scoring.
You genuinely can't.
He's a good player. He's good. He's an average player.
It all comes to fitness, doesn't it? If he keeps the fitness, I mean, who knows where he could have ended up if he wouldn't have got injuries.
Exactly. He could have been he could have been a Jamie Vardy right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jamie Vardy, he got 2 goals against Aston Villa in a 4-1 win, along with Kelechi Iheanacho also getting on the score sheet, and Johnny Evans, which was quite random to see Johnny Evans on the score sheet.
Yeah, you don't normally see him getting the goals. I mean, he's been a very, very good defender for Leicester, I feel. I mean, obviously having a long stint at Manchester United prior, but I mean, I think since Leicester had him, I feel like he's been a very comfortable defender for them.
Yeah. And obviously Jack Grealish continuing his good form.
Yeah.
Jack Grealish I think he's a very good player. He's coming into his own at Villa, and as we said last week with on the podcast with Harry, him and McGinn are very close to leaving if Aston Villa can't step up and do go down this season.
They are. It is a very real possibility, which I feel like
they could be going on cheap as well.
to face. Yeah.
So, and then the final game, Arsenal stepping up finally. Freddie Ljungberg beating Freddie Ljungberg's Arsenal. Beating West Ham United 3-1.
Yeah.
Gabriel Martinelli, Pepe finally as well getting on the goal on the score sheet.
I don't think there's a player who needed goals and assists more than him yesterday.
Absolutely.
I mean, my God, he's been under scrutiny.
And Aubameyang getting a goal and an assist. Sekou Kolasinac getting an assist as well. We put him in the poor category. I mean, probably still poor.
He's staying there.
Yeah, he's staying there. He just is, isn't he? Unless he scores about 50 goals from this point, he's staying there. And Angelo Ogbonna also getting a headed goal. He's an aerial threat. Ogbonna is. He's quite a big lad. He's got experience now as well. He's been all around the world. He's been at West Ham for some time now as well.
Yeah, he's been at West Ham for a while. I mean, they picked him up from Juventus, wasn't it, a while back?
He was a very high rated prospect, and now he's very meh.
Yeah, he's just accustomed to the West Ham team, I think.
Yeah, I think it's accustomed. He's like Yoshida.
Yeah.
At this point. So yeah, that's your Premier League roundup. We shall get to the two other results after my favourite segment. It's the hype train. We have two players for us for the show today. Both of us coming in with we've got some suggestions. First one I have for you, Joe. I think you can talk at length about this, Mr. Adam Lallana.
Adam Lallana. Okay, I'll talk unbiasedly first, then very biasedly. No, I'm joking. Adam Lallana was a very, very, very good player a while back. I feel like before his injury, because Jurgen Klopp seemed to really love him, and he was getting really good, really good form out of him. He was a highlight in a Liverpool team which was still not ready yet, and he was a very well performing player. I think he had a good couple performances for England. He was a good pickup from Southampton as well at the time. But it's a sad truth in football now. Injuries stagnate people. There have been so many countless world-class talents, I'm talking world-class now, who have had their careers completely downtrodden by injuries. And just players who haven't looked the same after. Mm-hmm. And I definitely think that is one in Adam Lallana. I feel like the tragic case for him was he got injured during the Liverpool rebuild, and Liverpool rebuilt a team which is now probably one of the best in Europe, if not the best in Europe. That's the situation we're looking at. And when you are injured, and when that team does progress without you, I mean, where does he fit in? I don't see him fitting into the midfield anywhere. I don't see him fitting out on the left anywhere.
No.
I struggle to find any place for him in Liverpool. I think Adam Lallana could be a lower end Premier League club's, player. I feel like if he can keep fitness, he can still extend his Premier League career. But I think I'd put him in Paul.
Ooh, I may not go that low.
I just feel. I know he has been injured and injuries have dropped him. And now I'm saying it could be harsh. It could be harsh.
Yeah, I think maybe a lower end of average, because he does pull through in big games. Like he did get that equaliser against United.
He did.
So he does turn out for big games. I'd say for Adam Lallana, he's not a tier like with Fabinho. He's not on a tier with Mason.
He's not even touching the rest of your team.
No, absolutely not. Not even Jordan Henderson.
No.
All right, stop it.
Stop it.
He's a good character to have on the pitch. He can run. That's one of his great characteristics. He can run for days, and I think that's what an average player. He can pass a ball. He can pull through when he needs.
He can be a workhorse at times. You know what? I think I did speak too soon though. I think average is a good place to pop him in.
Average. And the second and final player, the Brazilian Fred.
Mr. Fred. Tell you what,
I love his name. I love his name so much.
I feel like he's going to get put. I feel like I know where he's going to get put. But the last two games, which again we haven't spoken about yet, so I'm not going to go into too much because we are going to talk about it. He's looked like a different player, and he was critical to Manchester United's recent form. He was excellent.
He's stepped into that role.
He did.
Paul Pogba is they're missing from Paul Pogba at the minute.
And I look at that and I think, wow, that this can be done, and this can be done against top 6 clubs. So where is this regularly? Where has this been? And I feel it's very difficult. Obviously, I mean, people forget that he wasn't coming from Barcelona, or he was coming for a big fee, but he was playing in the Ukrainian league. We've signed this man from Shakhtar Donetsk. So I felt like there was always going to be a bit of adjustment period with him. if you look at the track record of players coming from Shakhtar Donetsk and finding their way into the Premier League, you've got players like Fernandinho, you've got players like Henrik Mkhitaryan. He didn't take a direct route, but Henrik Mkhitaryan came over to the Prem. Some adjust, some don't. I mean, Mkhitaryan, I feel like he's been an okay player in the Premier League, but he never really hit the form everyone was hoping he'd hit. And he had that stint at 2 top 6 clubs as well, and it just didn't really work out for him. Fernandinho, however, has been a staple in Premier League football. So I feel like with Fred, I feel like time is of the essence, and I feel like he's going to get. It's going to come good at some point, as long as he's got stability around him. I think stability is everything, and United's form is not stable right now. But if he gets stability and gets regular run-outs, I honestly think he can progress. But average.
Yeah, I think he's average. He's probably definitely past that point of being the prospect. He's 26 years of age. He's almost 27.
Yeah.
he has put some good performances out. That might render him not being in the poor category, but again, we'll probably review this some time and maybe see where Fred lies. But for now, I think I might have to put him in average.
Yeah, I feel like
Carriage is getting a bit lonely at this point.
He's on a tightrope at the moment, and he can go either way. He either drifts to poor or he drifts upwards to possibly becoming a really prominent player.
Yeah, like a star player. He could get into that Paul Pogba role.
You
never know.
It's all about timing, and I think January and the following summer is going to be a very critical point for Man United.
Absolutely. So speaking about Man United, it's time that we move on to our main topic.
Yeah.
Manchester United coming off a very, very, very good week of football. Ole has practically been saved by 2 very big results.
Yeah.
The first of those coming at Old Trafford, 2-1 versus Tottenham Hotspur.
I mean, it was a very competent win. I feel like Tottenham were very poor in that game. They were very poor. I feel like we should have had more goals. We should have had way more. Marcus Rashford was clinical in that game. There was like a 30-yard attempt as well, where it was like a knuckleball hit, and it dipped in and hit the crossbar. I was thinking, oh my god! I mean, he's going to get like 6 in this game. I mean, it was incredible. Not to take away from Tottenham that Dele Alli goal though.
Yeah.
In a very, very poor run out from Tottenham, that goal was phenomenal.
Dele Alli is definitely stepping up this season.
He is.
You definitely see it in leaps and bounds.
Mourinho's clearly giving him a kick in the right direction. So that Dele Alli goal I thought was phenomenal. Chest control, flick over the head, and then just nice finish.
It was like that Palace goal that he scored a few years ago.
It was similar to that, just at closer distance. Yeah. But I mean, it was just great ball control from him, which we all know he can do. But
Marky Rashford now getting his goal tally up. He is, very clinical. He's very good coming off that left hand side now. He's adopted that role and made it his own. It's obviously a system that Ole has now got into like a system for them, like a proper functioning way of playing for Manchester United. That also carried over with him and Martial putting 2 goals past the Manchester rivals.
Again,
at the Etihad.
I can say competently that, I mean, we've had a United Arsenal topical podcast before, and because Manchester United are such a big club, they have come up a lot of times on our podcast before in little segments and little snippets. But the main Manchester United in-depth podcast, which we're doing today, we were hoping, or not necessarily hoping, but we were predicting it was going to be for when Ole was dismissed, and it was looking like that was going to be a fact almost, yeah.
So, like,
I mean,
it was imminent. It was soon.
I feel like if we would have lost against Tottenham and Manchester City, I felt like he would have gone. But
absolutely,
we've just come off the back of 2 very, very competent 2-1 wins where we were no question deserved to win those games, no question at all. Against Manchester City again, just the form just continued, and Manchester City looked poor, and we capitalised on it. And we ran out as a team, as a unit. I mean, 2 games where we didn't keep clean sheets again. I mean, you're going to expect that against the top 6. It's going to be tough. Clean sheets are something which a lot of top 6 clubs are struggling with this season. So maybe defensive, not necessarily reinforcements at United, but defensive conversations maybe need to be had. But I mean, I was thrilled. I was absolutely thrilled. But I tell you what a state of limbo we're in now.
Yeah.
Because it was looking like Ollie was potentially doomed, and the man who was available that we were probably going to try and tap up was Maurizio Pochettino. Now, I see Ollie staying. I don't see any movement. I mean, and also I want to get on the record that I'm not Ollie out. I'm not a massive advocate to get him out of the club. I don't like it when the managers leave. Whenever a manager comes in, you want them to be successful. After a while, it gets to a stage where you're like, it's going to happen. Like, it's just going to happen, or maybe it has to happen. But no one likes to see a manager leave. So, and especially someone of Ollie's caliber and status at the club. But those two results have 100% papered over some cracks, some very big cracks. And they were results that I wasn't expecting to get, but we have them, and I'm very happy about it. Yeah. And I'm more than happy for Ollie to stay at the club. I mean, I want him to be successful, but I feel like consistency is crucial. January, I think players need to come in as well.
Yeah, Ollie definitely needs the investment in some players this summer. No, or not this summer, in January.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Pogba needs to come back.
Yeah, Pogba's someone we have definitely missed. Our midfield has been a problem area this season. I'm more than happy with our starting defence. To start our starting defensive line. I think the left back position's a little bit shaky.
Yeah. Obviously, you can't really start an 18-year-old Brandon Williams. He's very shaky as well. He was one of the faults for one of the goals in one of the previous games. So
again, great form from him recently. But then, like you said, he's a bit shaky.
He's obviously going to be nervous. He's 18, so
yeah.
He's still to step into that role of being that commanding left back.
And then, but I mean, the starting left back in theory is Luke Shaw. And yeah. Luke Shaw, it's just, again, we were talking about players never being the same since injury. I mean, and Luke Shaw is he works hard.
He's the epitome of that, though, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's absolutely that.
I mean, it was absolutely terrible, that injury for Luke Shaw. I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember watching the game and thinking, this is bad. This is really bad. And he came back from injury far quicker than I expected. Came back in like 8 or 9 months.
Yeah. Back
on the pitch playing, but I mean, where he was gonna be if he didn't get that injury to where he is now, it is really sad. So that left back position's a little bit quizzical for us. But going back to the main point, we talked about that. I think midfield is a problem area we have. We don't know what the situation with Pogba is. He doesn't really seem that invested in the club anymore. He doesn't really, show any outfield passion to the club. I know this is such a backward way of looking at it, but social media, I don't know if you've ever been across his Instagram recently. There's no real affiliation to Manchester United. You wouldn't know that this man is a Manchester United footballer unless you scrolled right down. I think there was a picture of him at a Manchester United fundraiser event with a kid, like doing a meet and greet.
Yeah.
And then apart from that, it's nothing. It's videos of him training or
it's videos
getting
of
fitness.
Him going to Miami and watching some basketball. I know that he received a jersey from Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
I was just like, this guy doesn't emit any passion for Man United at all.
He doesn't. And what's really sad is that, I mean, there's no Man United footballer in a biographic or anything. I feel like he's going. That move, if he gets this move to Madrid or back to Juventus, then I feel like passion's going to start coming back out. And it's sad that he doesn't have the passion for the club anymore. But ultimately, if Pogba goes, I'm not going to be gutted as long as we get replacements in. Because when Pogba's fit, I've said this so many times, and nobody can tell me when Pogba's fit and he's in form, he's not world class. He is. It's a fact, mate. It is a fact.
If he's having his best game, yes, absolutely, 100%, he is world class.
And I mean, I'm not being funny, but for a long time, he's had to put up with a very mediocre Manchester United team around him,
and potentially mediocre Manchester United managers.
Yeah,
if you look at it.
It depends how you want to look at managers, which he maybe hasn't got on with so well, allegedly. Or
from a neutral standpoint, Paul Pogba is one of those people to see a manager and think himself better, especially with a manager like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who's come in and only managed a Norwegian team in Cardiff.
You see, I object to that because I feel like that's the portrayal Pogba gets from from everyone. That's the portrayal he gets in the media. That's the portrayal he gets from a lot of his, a lot of the fans out there and everything. But I feel like players of his caliber do carry an ego because they know their own talent. Essentially, it's a dangerous game. But at the same time, I feel like he is driven, and I feel like he wants to be the best. He's got this "I want to be the best" mentality, and I feel like when you're surrounded by players who aren't necessarily giving you what you want, it can be bad. It can be toxic. But look at Cristiano Ronaldo. He is the epitome of that attitude, and he is arguably, if it depends how you want to view it, the best player of all time.
Oh,
so I said, mate, I didn't say that was necessarily my viewpoint, but it depends how you want to view it.
Some people will think that. Absolutely, he is definitely on the Mount Rushmore of football.
Yeah,
100%, maybe.
100%.
If you think about it, he could potentially be there.
I think he could potentially go down as one of the most clinical players of all time, or if not the most clinical.
And maybe one of the most controversial as well at times. Early career. Diving and stuff. Yeah. But obviously, CR7 is a brand.
It is brand. He has branded himself.
Is a brand.
That is a really good point that you mentioned that, because I feel like I may have mentioned this before, maybe in conversation with you in the past. There are footballers out there which are brands, and they've marketed themselves as that. Paul Pogba is one. Neymar. Cristiano, Neymar. I wouldn't necessarily say Messi.
Messi, absolutely not. He is too focused on football. I think Messi's too humble.
He is too humble. I mean, he's very. Did you see what Balotelli came out and said recently about the Ballon d'Or?
Didn't he say that Messi and Ronaldo should be? Oh no, that was Rapinoe.
He said that, Rapinoe had a very, very interesting point as well. But Balotelli came out and said, "I would much rather win." Was it two Ballon d'Ors with two different clubs than like 6 golden balloons with the same club? So and then basically just fully kind of really atting Messi there.
Yeah.
And I thought that was definitely a controversial statement, but nobody can take away from Cristiano Ronaldo that he has done what he's done at 3 clubs.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, obviously he was at Sporting before as a prospect, and a very good prospect there, but at 3 clubs now, he's won Ballon d'Or. 3 clubs won Ballon d'Or, hasn't he? He won a Ballon d'Or at Juventus for a season, did he?
I actually don't know.
I'm pretty sure he did. Well, 3 clubs he's had.
He did win massive, the last one, didn't he?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh no, he didn't. Modric did. Modric won the last one.
That's a good point. So I may be wrong on that point there, but 3 clubs he's been successful at now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Arguably, if Juventus win the Champions League, I will say that yes.
But
won the Champions League at 3 different clubs. Yes.
But
absolutely.
These footballers as brands, that is what Pogba has to him at the moment. And it can be bad. It can be dangerous. So
it's at a point where I think Paul Pogba was using Man United to enhance his brand rather than, because Manchester United as a whole, I will admit, they are the biggest club in England for marketing.
They're the biggest club in the world, mate.
Yeah, them and Real Madrid, I'd say, on par. You'd have to argue both of those, but those 2 are the biggest brands in football.
I'd agree with that.
If any club, it's going to be Manchester United. Pogba builds it back up, because he was at Juventus. That's where he played some of his best football. Go to Manchester United, build his brand more. Go to Real Madrid, where he can build his brand even more and become that, what he wants to be. And that I just think he wants to be a bit mainstream, if I'm being honest.
I just feel like he wants success. He hasn't got the success he needed at United as a footballer personally, and it's a real shame. I mean, obviously, Man United have just been trying to fix problems in different areas over the past 6-7 years, and it's been a very forgettable decade. Very forgettable decade. Obviously, the decade prior, we were the ones. We were the top dogs,
chosen ones.
And and I feel like this decade, it's pretty much all been about Man City. Really,
it started very high for United. 2010. You were the champions of England
in 2012.
It was about Wayne Rooney. It was about Nani, Anderson. Ole I'm pretty sure was still at the club at that point.
I think he may have been ambassador or something in the club at the time. I think he had links to the club, but he definitely wasn't doing anything playing. I mean, it's been a difficult decade, especially for fans coming off the back of, because naturally, if you come off the back of so much success and it goes, you're thinking, well, where's it gone? I mean, what's happening? Mm-hmm. And that's what happened. I mean, at the moment, I feel like every modern United fan is used to the current format and used to knowing what we need to do next to progress. Because right now, Liverpool and Man City have obviously been very dominant. You've got clubs like Leicester and Wolves on the rise. Mm-hmm. You've got clubs like Arsenal on the decline. You've got clubs like Chelsea who are in like limbo. You've got Tottenham who kind of fluctuate. I mean, it's a really weird time for football. It's a really strange time.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I wouldn't have been able to predict any of it.
At the beginning of the decade, I don't think anyone could predict the climate of football that is now.
I mean, it's absolutely crazy. We've seen the world record for transfer fees been broken about 7 times.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely crazy.
Kylian Mbappe is now worth about 220 million euros.
Yeah, about that, I'd say.
Some guy that's the same age as me. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
I will say that to the day I die. Kylian Mbappe would have been in my year at school, and he's earning like 17 million euros per year.
It is mental.
So I don't think any Man United fan. I think Man United would have. I would have predicted Man United staying at the top.
Yeah.
Throughout this year or throughout this decade, but then obviously there had to be a time where Alex Ferguson went. Good old whiskey nose. You know, it does show his managerial genius that he knows what he's doing. He is a managerial masterclass.
Yeah, he was certainly one of a kind.
No matter how many times Liverpool fans want to say that he wasn't the best, he genuinely, speaking from a Liverpool fan's point of view, he has to go down as probably the best manager of Premier League history.
Yeah, I think it's hard to argue. I mean, Manchester United have had, I think, 3 extremely iconic managers at the club. I mean, obviously in Sir Matt Busby, Sir Alex Ferguson, and then I'd say Jose Mourinho as well. We've had 3 of the highest profile managers in managerial history.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's doing discredit. I mean, obviously Louis van Gaal, a massive name in management as well. It's really, you know, we've had huge names at the club, but this decade has certainly been a difficult time. So I mean, we're a rebuild project. Anyone who comes on board with us, they need to. It's horrible to say, but they need to know that.
Yeah.
A lot of Man United's problems are tipped to come down to poor ownership.
Absolutely.
We are currently still in like between $600 to $700 million worth of debt.
Mm-hmm. It's horrible.
It's absolutely crazy that we've got that much money in debt, and our owners are billionaires. And you think you know, if you put the right money into the club, and if you put the right runnings into and you actually pay attention to what's happening and pay attention to the football climate, then something can be done. Surely something can be done.
You'd hope so.
I mean, obviously, I'm not claiming to be a tactical business wizard, but you know, it's.
Everyone's been there though on career mode. It's like, I just need some investment here.
Honestly,
but
problems with United start from the top.
It is the top, absolutely.
That's where the issues lie. Because I feel like right now, I mean, some of the players we have got in our team right now, my God, we are so lucky to have them. I'm talking like real standout performers this season. How David De Gea is still with us, I have no idea.
Especially after the debacle about moving to Real Madrid and signing a new contract. He's staying at the
I don't know if you'd agree with me here, but he's been the goalkeeper of the decade in the Premier League.
Ooh.
For the entirety of the decade.
You know what? I'd probably have to agree there. Like, he wasn't very prominent, obviously, in the first half of the decade. I'd say that was probably Joe Hart. Then you move on to 2014, 2015. David De Gea has been a constant in Manchester United.
I would argue 2013 to like 2017. I think he was the one.
He was the man. Now I'd say it's a toss-up between Edison and
it is.
Alisson.
I'd say De Gea. I think De Gea holds that number 3.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a very good goalkeeper. I just don't think he's highlighted by the defensive flaws of Manchester United. There are definitely holes in that defence. Harry Maguire is a very, very good, influx of defensive talent. However, there's other holes that need plugging. Obviously, you got Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who put in an amazing performance against Manchester City.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Absolutely brilliant. And you've got Victor Lindelof, who's now pulling in.
I do think, like, when teams look at Manchester United, like, Manchester City probably thought, Raheem, you're going to have to do a job against the left back here. Or if say Manchester United versus Liverpool, Mohamed Salah might have a field day because of that left hand side.
It's a position which needs filling, and it can be done. It can be done quite competently. We just need to spend the money. We also have currently a bunch of players at the club which I see no real asset for. And again, we've mentioned this in prior podcasts. I'm not going to go through and rehash old segments, but it's the usual suspect. It's the Andreas Pereiras, Jesse Lingards, Nemanja Matic. These are players which are on the books which are not giving us anything. So why are they here? And I say that in a brutal fashion. I mean, I'm gonna thank them for what they have done, but when you stagnate as a player, surely collecting the paycheck is enough for some people, but it can't be enough for everyone. Jesse Lingard could move to another mid-table to low-table Premier League club. Jesse Lingard could leave. I'm not being funny. He would probably get picked up by a club. He'd probably get picked up quite competently.
I'd say he'd probably go to like another country, like Italy or something.
Yeah, he'd get picked up in an Italian league. He'd get picked up by a team like, I don't know why. This comes to my head, but like Valencia, Leon,
Lazio.
I mean, I could see a club like weirdly like Dortmund or something going for him.
Absolutely, like him and Sancho linking up.
Like you either stagnate or you move on, don't you? And the players that have moved on from United rather than stagnate have, in the most, done quite well for themselves. Memphis Depay has really turned his career around. I mean, even players like Fellaini. I mean, like he didn't really have much shout going around in Europe and everything. China came knocking. Why wouldn't he take it?
Yeah.
Go there for a bit. I mean, like, I've heard rumours in the paper. I mean, obviously it's all paper talk. That apparently Mourinho wants him at Tottenham. I mean, I don't really know what to think of that, but I think that's quite bizarre. But whatever, fair enough. Each to their own.
I mean, Jesse Lingard talking about building a brand. That is what Lingard does.
Well, no, he again, yeah, he wants to be that caliber of player, but it isn't going to happen.
No,
it isn't going to happen. I mean, Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial are two of the most humble players I think at Manchester United. They're not really that flashy. They've got the natural kind of football swagger about them. I mean, they're young, they're talented. I mean, why not? I mean, obviously you've got this talent, and you've got this talent, but at the same time on the pitch, it's all professional. Martial, especially. I mean, the guy's just stone cold, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But we have players at the club with the right mentality, and we have some which are stagnating. There's players that need to be shipped off, and there's players which need to come in. In January, Ollie needs to spend, and I will. I'm a realist. I want one attacker and one midfielder. That's what I want in January. Defense wise, we could probably last out until the summer. We just need form. We just need consistency. But we need a creative midfielder. I feel we need maybe one more creative midfielder, or alternatively a defensive midfielder. I know that's quite opposite ends of the spectrum, but I say that in the sense of Nemanja Matic isn't really going anywhere, so we haven't really been playing those defensive midfielders. Pogba's been too injury prone, so we haven't really been playing that attacking style. We've just had kind of midfielders floating.
Mm-hmm.
So we either need like an out and out Idrissa Gueye, Wilfred Ndidi, Fabinho-esque defensive midfielder. Or for now, we need like a central attacking midfield masterclass player.
Maybe another Shakhtar player. Maybe Brazilian's Tyson.
Tyson. I mean, I don't know if we go knock into Shakhtar again. I've got a really bad feeling that Christian Eriksen is going to be on our radar.
Yeah.
I mean, Christian Eriksen has been a phenomenal player in the Premier League. I don't feel like he's what we need.
I don't think he's a Man United suit.
I don't think he's a Man United suit, and I also don't think he would be happy with that. I feel like he would take it. Christian Eriksen clearly wants to leave Tottenham. He's clearly not enjoying his football there. Fair enough. But I felt like for him personally, I feel like he needs to get out of the league. And I can just envision Manchester United coming in with big money for him.
Oh, absolutely.
I was only talking to Dom, guest presenter and guest what were we saying?
Just a guest?
Just a guest in general. There we go.
Guest
speaker as
guest
well
fan.
on the Pundits earlier this season a couple of times, and he was saying that he thinks Man United should go for Eriksen, and I just don't know. I mean, Bruno Fernandes was the name on everyone's lips in the summer.
Bruno Fernandes is a very good player at Sporting.
And, you know, I feel like Liverpool, Tottenham and Manchester United were the three clubs in for him.
Sniffing around here.
And it's all been a bit quiet now.
Yeah.
I feel like if anyone's going to get him, it's probably going to be Tottenham.
To replace Eriksen. Bringing it back probably to Ole. Do you think he's staying to the end of the season now?
You only need to go back and listen to my podcast, to the podcast 2 weeks ago, and I was saying he was done.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what to feel. It's so difficult.
It is a weird limbo stage for Man United fans. Do you want him in? Should he stay?
Terrible performances against clubs we need to beat, and then 2 wins against 2 of the best clubs in England. It makes no sense, does it? It's crazy. But do I think he's going to stay to the end of the season? I mean, after those 2 results, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But my honest answer is I'm not sure. It's so difficult. I mean, what do you think?
I think that if he gets the right back in, if he gets the right players in, if he gets obviously, he went into that dressing room telling the players that he is going to get sacked if he doesn't come away with results. These players resonate with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He has the backing of the locker room, unlike what Pochettino had, unlike what Marcus Silva had. I think that that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has the backing of the players, and they will put their necks on the line for him.
I think I would agree with you on that. I feel like they do want to play for him.
I do think that he might stay to the end of the season, but that is depending on the results. In the meantime, if he continues this run of form, which may or may not, as you say, the results just might fluctuate again. They could lose their next game, 3-0, and it could all be back to square one. Is Ole getting the sack before Christmas?
I mean, right now, the next 3 games we've got, you're looking at Everton, you're looking at Watford, and you're looking at Newcastle. Now, on paper, I mean, that's 3 wins. That's 3 wins.
Newcastle are in pretty good form at the minute.
Exactly. I mean, I'm talking strictly paper. I mean, there's clubs here which can get results off it. I mean, Newcastle could easily get goals.
Everton just took 3 points from Chelsea.
Yeah.
Sorry. Watford should be an easy win. Should be.
But I mean, right now with this Premier League season, and this isn't just Manchester United, but I mean, who knows what's going to happen? The only 2 clubs which have looked amazingly confident have been Liverpool. You'd always put Liverpool as the favourites. They always concede, but you always put them as the favourites. Yeah. And probably Leicester.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, we somehow beat Leicester this season. We managed to somehow just finesse a 1-0 win, which again, looking at it now, is something which I'm like, wow, we should take that and run.
At the beginning of the season, no one would have thought that Leicester City would go on the run that they did.
No,
I mean, looking back, you should be going back to that result and saying, what did we do right?
Yeah.
Because we need to keep that up. Obviously, you didn't have Anthony Martial at that point, but you now have him, and just incorporate him into that system that you beat the second place in the league with. It's all about consistency, and if we don't have consistency, what do we have? So for Manchester United, that is what the fans are crying out for. Just consistency. Yeah.
The goals have been scarce at times, but with Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial looking the way they are, we've got talent in Greenwood. We've got other goal scorers potentially on the pitch. Potentially,
you've actually brought up some youth academy players as well to the first team.
Yeah,
Ole has just brought in an influx of a couple of midfielders. You've brought in Damani, Bogal, Maylor.
Yeah.
Through to the first team as well. The 2 new attacking options. I'm going to butcher this name. Largi Ramazani.
Yeah, that's quite. It's a lengthy one.
It's a Belgian name.
Right now, those players are on. They're not going to stay there for long.
Obviously not. No.
They're going to stay there due to injury woes and everything. But
they are just in case. Like, if they do get a chance to get on the pitch and prove themselves, they could be worldies. They could be world beaters. They could come on.
Well, I mean, you look at the rise of Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford was put in against Arsenal because we didn't have players. we were getting injury prone. We were all thinking, who's this young kid starting for us? He gets 2 goals.
Mm-hmm.
Plays in the next Europa League game, gets 2 goals. You couldn't make it up.
No.
And look where he is now. I mean,
one of the most prolific goal scorers in England.
Yeah, we've had similar stories where it hasn't worked out. James Wilson, Federico Makeda. these are 2 players which started goals on their debut, and they were like, oh my god, like, well, this is crazy. What's going to happen? And it doesn't always happen. No. But Marcus Rashford's been one who's kept it up. But I still feel an attacking reinforcement is needed, a proven attacker.
But then these young players, if you don't give them a chance, they might not be able to shine. That's the only, like, you give Reece Nelson, Jadon Sancho their credit. They went to Germany, they got their names out there, and now they're worth loads of money.
Yeah.
If these guys like get on the pitch for Manchester United, you know, Dylan Levitt, Ethan Galbraith, you know, for Manchester United,
it could happen.
They could be absolutely well, but this could be the future of Manchester United right here.
I want, like I said, I want a midfielder, and either all out defensive or all out attacking, one or the other, and I want a competent striker.
Yeah.
And the names that have been floating around with us in terms of the midfield, I haven't seen too many, but apart from Christian Eriksen. But attacking wise, earlier in the season it was Mario Mandzukic, which there's so many positives and negatives to him. He brings a completely different attacking element than what Rashford and Martial bring, which I quite like the sound
of. He
of.
holds the ball up. He's quite good.
Big aerial threat, big bulky striker, like the Harry Kane-esque build, but just obviously a bit further on in that career. If he's available for cheap, why not?
I mean, it could turn Manchester United season around. Absolutely. It's
all to come, mate.
For those Manchester United fans that are maybe getting a bit carried away, is it a bit too soon? Obviously, PSG happened last season. Everyone started praising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer like he was going to be the next messiah of Manchester United.
Yeah,
is it a bit too soon to say that this is a turnaround? You have 2 big results against 2 top teams.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very good, but can they keep up the form? Can Ollie keep the backing of the team? And if so, can he keep the money coming in and also bringing in some new players?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? It's all the canny. The canny. It's not he is. It's all up in the air. I mean, I certainly haven't forgot all the results prior. I mean, obviously, I'm thrilled with the 2 results we've just had. But if we go and throw it all away against Watford and Newcastle and all these kind of clubs, then what's the point? Then what is the point? Because, I mean, you put on an amazing show for the fans against the top 6 clubs and get them all faithful, and yet the fans the travelling fans who go to see you play a club away and you end up getting battered by them, or you end up getting completely just humiliated, then it raises too many questions. And the one of the other main problems Manchester United have faced in recent times, I feel, is our pulling power has gone right down. There was a time where you had to mention the name, and a player would be hopping on the next plane. They'd walk.
Yeah, exactly. They would walk on hot coals to get to Manchester. And
I feel like in recent times, that is what has attracted some big name players. I mean, still the players that we were looking at, like I'm trying to think of ones that come to mind. Fred was touted by Man City.
Yep.
Quite heavily pursued, and we ended up getting him in the end. You look at players like Victor Lindelof. I feel like at the time, I think Liverpool were looking at him. There were big players which ended up choosing one club over the other, and you got to think at the time, well, I wonder what made them do that. Maybe it was money. Maybe it was the chance to work with a certain manager. Maybe it was that they've got friends at the club. Maybe they've been convinced, or maybe it's the name, or maybe it's the name and the history that club has had. And I feel like Manchester United have had that for a long time. But when does that run stagnant? When does it run dry?
I think it's starting to. Like, the name obviously still rings. It's still prominent. It's still Manchester United, the biggest club in the world. However, I think if you look at where Liverpool are now, they have more of a name. Like, they have you mentioned to a player that's abroad, they're like, oh, Liverpool are after you, and this player goes, oh, the last team to win the Champions League.
Yeah, Champions League winners, current favourites for the Premier League.
Yeah,
chance to work under a modern thinking manager like Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah,
chance to link up with players like Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane.
Roberto Firmino is one of the most he's one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. So
Liverpool right now are their meteoric climb is it's been phenomenal for them as a club, and it's difficult for United to see Manchester City and Liverpool being in the position they are.
Yeah, I mean,
and you look at it, and I don't think the owners maybe know that. I don't think the owners maybe sympathise that much, because they'll be die-hard week in, week out Mancunians who trek every day up to Old Trafford, and they have done for the past 10 years. And they've seen their club fall hard. And they've seen their closest rivals and their historic rivals rise to the top. It's a hard... it happens to every club at times, but... Because all the success United were having, obviously much to the upset of Liverpool, rivalries, they mean a lot in football, and seeing the two best clubs being United's rivals, it is crazy.
Yeah, I reckon it's horrible for all. I don't think they want anybody. I reckon every single Manchester United fan wants Leicester City to go and overtake Liverpool right now and win the league.
Oh God, yeah,
absolutely.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, watching the Manchester derby, I was secretly chanting for Manchester United.
Oh, of course. Obviously, it would give you the points to make you go clear, wouldn't it?
We are 14 points clear. Speaking of the table,
14 points clear
of Manchester City.
Just highlight that. That's amazing.
We're 8 points clear of Leicester City right now, but 14 points clear of the current champions of the Premier League. Leicester City are the only ones that can catch us at this point, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
We are over 4 games clear of Manchester City. We are just under 3 games clear of Leicester City. It's a crazy place to be in. I mean, you're only 5 points behind Chelsea. Let's just put that. Manchester United are currently in 5th. Where do you see Manchester United finishing at the end of the season?
No, that is a tough question. I want to highlight 11th, going up to 5th right now. In 11th place, you have Newcastle on 22 points. You also have Crystal Palace, Arsenal, all on 22 points. And Sheffield. You have Tottenham on 23, you have Wolves on 24, same with United. If any one of those teams win and we lose, we go down to 11th. That is how scrappy this Premier League is. That's how scrappy... Premier League's the best league in the world. That is how scrappy it is. That is how much of a dogfight it is. Yep. Where I see Man United finishing right now, I have no idea, because Tottenham are probably going to have a nice run of form under Mourinho. Obviously, we give him a little pushback, but I feel like the Mourinho's going to start like he always does and give them a good run of form. It'll end.
Yeah.
But that's how it'll start.
Do you see Manchester United finishing above Tottenham? That's probably the better question to ask.
Do I see them finishing above Spurs? Right now, no.
No.
Right now, no. But then again, I can't even place where Spurs are going to finish. I feel like the top 4 now, on paper, is how the top 4 is going to finish. I feel like between 5th down to 8th, or 5th down to 7th rather. I feel like Man United, Wolves, and Tottenham and Arsenal are going to be the clubs in the next 4 positions down.
Yeah.
But what order they're in, I don't know.
I mean, could we see Manchester United just fall outside that Europa League bracket and maybe Sheffield United poke their heads in, or Arsenal even poke their heads in?
You never know. We could find Manchester United playing in the Champions League next season.
Absolutely, they could actually make their meteoric rise. Chelsea could have a bit of a fall.
They could, or we could win this Europa League. We could do it.
Oh, that's true. Actually, yeah, you could actually go on a massive run in the Europa League, be in the Champions League next season.
I'm not being funny. I wouldn't necessarily be mad at that. Why not throw it at the Europa League? It's a league which if we actually put ourselves into the results, I mean, why not? I mean, we've done it before, and we made it back into the Champions League. I mean, the current form we've been playing at is not a Champions League level club at all, but brings in the funding and gets us back up to the forefront of European football. I want to see United back in the Champions League. I want to see it happen. I want to see us have a good run in the Champions League. I'm not expecting us to win it anytime soon. I think we'd have sooner luck in the Prem, but reinforcements are needed.
Absolutely.
Reinforcements needed, and the right reinforcements are needed. I'm in summary, I think I am absolutely thrilled with the last two results, but I'm not a fool. I know that it's papered over the cracks, and I'm not getting ahead of myself at all. It's not. I'm not going to allow it, because it's happened so many times before. You get too gassed, and wow, you've been shot in the foot again.
Exactly, and you end up where you are, where you started.
Yeah,
it's back to this. It's back to this endless cycle of Manchester United in limbo, pretty much. Thank you, Joe, for speaking at length about Manchester United. I know it's not an easy topic to talk about nowadays, but with those two results coming off this week, Manchester United look like they're in a promising position to make waves, kind of. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that big debate. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Average Pundits, and on Twitter at Pundits Average. It's backwards because Twitter doesn't like me. So let's get into some predictions. You can see our predictions, like not the predictions, but the scores on the doors is quite equal at the minute. It is very equal on our Twitters, on our Twitter and Instagram. So make sure you keep up to date, and also subscribe if you're listening to this right now. So let's go for the first game: Liverpool versus Watford.
Liverpool-Watford. I feel like it's going to be a very comfortable win for Liverpool. I'm going to put 4-1 down. I still can't give him the clean sheets. I know you did get one, but I still, I don't know. Maybe a terrible goal, maybe an own goal. 4-1.
I'm gonna go 3-0. I do think that we could get the clean sheet finally. You know, our clean sheets need to start coming. Adrian is the one that kept our clean sheet, which is weird. I'm pretty sure the last goalkeeper for Liverpool to keep a clean sheet was Adrian.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
And Alisson hasn't been able to keep a clean sheet since, which is quite worrying. But yeah, I think Adrian coming back in the team. I think our defence needs to huddle around him, and yeah, 3-0. I don't think Watford are going to score. Watford don't have that power to score.
Yeah.
Next game we have Burnley versus Newcastle at Turf Moor.
At Turf Moor.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Newcastle's run of form are going to make them want to push. They are like you said, they are currently 7 points off fifth place Chelsea.
Bonkers, isn't it?
I'm gonna say 2-1 to Newcastle.
2-0. I'm gonna say 1-0.
1-1.
I feel like Burnley haven't been in the best form at Turf Moor again. Bit tough to go to. Bit scrappy. 1-1 also.
Next game we have at Stamford Bridge. We have Chelsea versus Bournemouth.
I see nothing other than a Chelsea win here. I
mean, we said that against Everton.
Off of the exact
off the mics, but
it's all the exact same words again, and we did see against Everton. But Chelsea really going to let it happen twice in 2 weeks? I don't think it's going to happen. I think Chelsea are going to win that 2-0.
They need to step up. I'm also going to say 2-0 because that is just they need to step up, especially after that loss to Everton.
They really do.
They are a very poor side, and I do not see anything else other than a Chelsea win. Speaking of comfortable wins, Leicester City versus Norwich. I do see Jamie Vardy having a field day here.
Do you reckon it's going to be a bit of a batter in this one?
Maybe not quite the battering that I probably just hinted at, but I reckon they're going to score, put at least 3 past them.
3-0?
I'm going to say 3-1. I do see maybe Tete or Pookie getting involved. So you're going to go 3-0?
I'm going to put 3-0 down. I don't have much faith in Norwich these days.
Sheffield United against Aston Villa.
That'll be a very good game, you know.
I can see multiple goals being scored here. I can see 4 goals being scored here. 2 apiece. I'm going to go 2-2.
You know, 2 apiece.
2-2. I reckon Grealish and McGinn, their form are going to keep up, and maybe Mapai as well for Sheffield United.
2-1 Villa.
2-1 to Aston Villa.
That's it'll be again. That'll be a really good game worth watching. I mean, right now Sheffield have been so entertaining, but I'm gonna put 2-1 Villa down because I know Villa they're gonna want to get a bit of form going. I think they're gonna push hard that game.
Next game, Southampton versus West Ham United.
Very underwhelming game. 1-1. With Danny Ings on the score sheet again.
I was going to put 1-0 to West Ham, and then I thought Danny Ings is going to score. So
it's just going to happen, isn't it?
1-1. The next game, very topical for this podcast. Will the form continue? It's Manchester United, and they face Everton.
3-0 United.
Oh.
God,
you might be regretting that next
I know,
podcast.
I know. Oh my God, I even winced when I said it. It's on. It's in writing now. It's formal.
Somebody listening to this clip that,
Yeah.
and I want to play it on repeat.
Yeah.
If Everton storm Manchester United next week, I'm going to play that on repeat at the next podcast.
Yeah, that's gonna come back to
gonna
me.
Bite you on the bottom.
It is.
I'm going to say 2-2. I don't think.
2-2.
I do not think. I see Calvert-Lewin scoring at Old Trafford.
Oh God.
I do. I have like a weird prophecy in my head. I predicted Marcus Rashford scoring at Old Trafford against Liverpool. I predicted Calvert-Lewin to score against Manchester United. I'm going 2-2. Next game.
That'll be a very interesting
Very
one.
big. This is a very big Super Sunday, to be fair. So you got Manchester United, Everton. Next up, Wolves versus Spurs.
Oh, okay. That could be good. Is that at Wolverhampton?
It's at the Molineux. Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Going to the Molineux as a top 6 club is always very daunting.
But yeah, I don't think Danny Rose is going to have a great game, to be honest. If you're looking at Adama Traore,
Mourinho's Tottenham versus technically George Mendes' Wolverhampton. Mourinho and Mendes very good mates there. You know, could see a Ruben Neves in a Spurs shirt at some point. That is so hard. 2-2.
2-2's now.
2-2, mate.
Stay dental, get Frimpong.
Yeah, 2-2, I think.
What a classic that is. Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 to Wolverhampton on this one. I don't think Mourinho has the tactics to break down the Wolves' defence. The Wolves' defence is very good, and I think Adama Traore is going to have a field day running over like a bulldozer. He's going to run Danny Rose over like a bulldozer.
Their defence is going to struggle Tottenham in that game.
Absolutely. They don't have the pace anymore. They don't have the pace to cope with Adama Traore. They don't have the pace to cope with Jota. And they don't have... I don't think Jimenez is going to score because those two defend like Vertonghen, and they'll probably play Sanchez.
Probably will.
Because he's the fastest of those three. We have next probably the biggest game of Super Sunday. Arsenal versus Manchester City.
I feel like this is going to be a very hard game for Arsenal fans because there's just been nothing to cheer about at all. They're going to sink even further down.
It's at the Etihad. Not the Etihad. It's at the Emirates Stadium.
I saw a post recently. It was like online. Someone was like, "Are Arsenal in a relegation battle?" It may have been from Sky Sports, and I was thinking, no, they're not going to get relegated. I mean, it's not going to happen. Whether they're going to finish anywhere near the top 6 though is another question. I think Manchester City are going to go there, and I think they're going to get I'm going to think they're going to get a 3-1 win.
If you are looking at it like that, they are the same amount of points away from the relegation zone than they are Chelsea. I'm pretty sure it's a 7-point difference.
It's a weird start, isn't it?
So Southampton currently on, obviously they've got minus 17 goal difference. Arsenal are on no goal. If they concede 17 goals, fair enough. They are the same amount of points away from the relegation zone as they are the top 4, which is an absolutely absurd stat.
Yeah,
but
I think 3-1 City. I think City are going to go and do the job.
I'm going to say it's going to be about around that. I'm going to up you one 4-1 to Manchester City. Now for Monday Night Football, we have Crystal Palace taking on Brighton.
That'll be a good game. Palace 2-1. I feel Palace are going to get the result there. I feel like it's going to be a scrappy game, but I feel like Palace will get the result there.
I think Palace will get a result. I don't think it's going to be very easy for him. Dunk is having a fantastic season.
He is
in that Brighton defence. So I see maybe a fluke IU goal or maybe a Zaha goal, but I think it's going to be 1-0 to Crystal Palace. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are our predictions for this week. Game week. What game week is it this week? I have no clue. But that's it. I think we're all losing at this point. It's assignment season for us students here at the University of Worcester.
It's a very busy time of year.
However, we like to get this out for you guys, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Please leave a comment down below, like this video, share it with everybody that you know, share it with your dog, your catfish, anything that you want. I don't know why I said there, but let's go for it. So subscribe to us to hear more. Turn that notification bell on. Follow us on Twitter at Pundits Average, Instagram at Average Pundits, and we shall speak to you in the next episode.